Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unarmored Talk podcast, where we will have real life conversations that helps you develop an accurate way of thinking. And the way we're going to do this is by gaining a better understanding of how feelings, emotions, and thoughts can influence the outcome of a personal or professional challenge. I'm your host, Mario P. Fields, and today's guest is Colonel Quintin Jones, active duty United States Marine Corps full-bird colonel. And I can't tell you where he's stationed at. I think it's top secret. I'll let him see if he wants to unclassify that location. Colonel, Happy New Year. Welcome to the show.
Happy New Year, Sergeant Major. How's it going?
You can call me Mario, but everything is going great.
You're always my Sergeant Major.
I always have that issue with the other guests, so I'm fine with that. But hey, tell the viewers a little bit and listeners a little bit about yourself, Colonel.
Hey, so, Mario introduced me as Colonel Quintin Jones. So I'm just a small-time boy from Memphis, Tennessee, who was raised by a family environment. They talk a lot about it takes a village to raise a kid, and truly, it definitely took a village to raise my knucklehead coming out of Memphis. And so I was blessed enough to be raised by a phenomenal family. I went on to do some great things. I'm lucky to be married to one of the most patient women in the world. My wife, Valentina, she's born and raised here in Naples, Italy, where we're currently stationed. So we're able to get her back to her family for a short period of time. But she has the patience of marriage, to be married to me. She's one of the most beautiful women in the world that I know. And she took pity on me and married me, and then blessed me with two beautiful kids, a son who's 13, Mateo, and a beautiful daughter who's 11, Maya. And so we're here enjoying our time in Italy. I work over at Sixth Fleet and the N35, and I'm also the 2F LNO out here to forward some of their initiatives. So that's me in a nutshell. I've been in the Marine Corps for probably 22 odd years, infantry officer by trade, and just been having a good time. So there you go. That's who I am.
I like how you put you out of your less than 2 minutes, about 98% of that was on your wife. So hopefully she watches this episode, and so your bonus points, right, your love rewards can be increased in the family. You know what I mean?
Right. We're always trying to put money in the bank, I guess. Right.
No. And again, we're blessed to have you on the show, Colonel. I know you're busy, but you know how we do it on Unarmored Talk. You got to remove your armor. And I appreciate you doing that. Let's jump right into the topic. So here it is, 1992, I want to say. You're graduating high school, ready to go out and tackle the world, if you will. I use that cliche. And so you go to West Point, and you don't get accepted. Well, you go to West Point Prep School, and you realize that you're not good enough to get accepted to West Point. Now you find yourself on your way back home to what, Memphis?
That's right.
Talk to us about that unexpected challenge.
I mean, you put it pretty bad. I was just like a failure. So, there was 1992. I graduated from high school at White Station High School, one of the, at the time, the best high school in Memphis, still is. And a lot of my friends, they were going off to Harvard, Princeton, to Yale, Georgetown, just, phenomenal schools, staying home at the University of Memphis as well. And so for me, getting accepted into West Point Prep, for me and my family, it was, the ultimate thing to do, to go out and serve the country. And so I embarked going out to West Point Prep in Earl, New Jersey. A very demanding time as a young African-American leaving home, not knowing really much about the military. So I'm thrust into this environment, a military environment on top of academics. And I was there the entire year. Grades were average. And at the end of the year, people at West Point Prep, they get attrited throughout the year.
Okay.
So as you're not making the mark, they send you home. No harm, no foul, you go home.
Right.
Or you just drop out. And so I stayed there the entire year. when all the appointments were passed out, and I got caught short. I didn't get accepted, and so I quickly realized that I had to come up with a game plan because I was about to be sent back home.
Mm.
I had to go face my family, my friends, my loved ones who had, made a really big deal out of me going to West Point Prep, eventually going to West Point, and I didn't make it. And so that was a very tough time for me going back home because, being raised in a Black family, really, when you graduate from high school, that's it. You got to go. You got to get out the house. And so I didn't really want to go back home and face my dad and be like, well, he's going to be like, what you going to do? Because you can't stay here, but, I had a very loving family. And as long as I was working and trying to advance myself, they were okay. And they were loving, they were gracious, but still in the back of my mind, I was a failure. Now, so I had to come up with a game plan.
Yeah. Now, were you surprised when you did not get appointed? Was that a shock? And if not, or if so, talk to us. Like, what went through your mind and your emotions when you did not get appointed?
Well, I thought I was good enough to make the cut,
right?
But apparently I wasn't. And so, my roommate at the time, he played basketball, and he got accepted. He was prior enlisted, and so I looked up to him. His name was Lamont, and so Lamont kind of showed me the ropes while I was there. And so when I didn't get accepted and going back to the room that afternoon, of course I was down, I was depressed, and everyone else was obviously excited and happy.
Right. Everybody cheering, and you're like,
oh yeah, like, ain't nothing to cheer about. And so, you kind of proverbially, tuck your tail between your legs and you go back to your room and you figure out, man, I'm just a disappointment.
Right.
I couldn't get it across the line. And so it was definitely a significant emotional event for me. Because it's like, now you got to pack your bags and you're not going to West Point, you're going home.
Right.
And so that was my first big failure in my life. And so it was very, very difficult to negotiate.
Yeah. Wow. And then, now you're, I'm assuming, did you fly back home from New Jersey, or was that a train ride? How did you get back to Memphis?
Wait, so it was a long taxi ride to Earl, New Jersey.
Wow.
From Earl, New Jersey to the airport. And then I flew back home to Memphis.
Yeah. So here you are now flying back home, right. And I think in a lot of families too, it's that pride thing when you're 18, 18, 19, you're like, man, so you fly back home, you land, you're at home. Now what happens? What's going on now during this transition, this unknown time at home after you left West Point Prep School?
So my family, we kind of hold our emotions close. We don't really show or express emotion. And so I kind of dealt with it in my own way. Of course, my mom talked to me. Yeah. My dad talked to me that, hey, this is not the end of the world. You can bounce back. But, I took that, okay, they're trying to give me a pep talk, but I really got to figure this thing out. Right. In the midst of the depression and feeling down about not succeeding, like my expectations of exceeding. Right. Because I was involved in everything in high school. So it was like, naturally, this guy is going to succeed no matter what. And so wow. I dropped a whole bunch of applications, and I talked to my guidance counselor up at West Point, and he was very helpful. And he's like, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. We're gonna get you to apply to Valley Forge Military Academy and see if we can get you in there, and then we'll get you another shot at coming to West Point. Hold the line, be faithful, and work hard this summer, stay in shape, and we'll see what happens.
Right.
And so they gave me a little focus. I went out and got a job worked over at KFC, I believe. No, I went to work at TGI Fridays, so that was, I got to do something. I got to make some money, can't be sitting in the house.
Yeah.
So,
and Colonel, real fast, if I may, you mentioned something I think that is very important for the viewers and listeners to hear us discuss. And you mentioned kind of the culture, right, in your household was you kind of don't show, right, don't show emotions. You kind of internalize them and then go into your thought process. Do you think that's a good or bad? I mean, I don't like to use the word good or bad. What's your thoughts on not showing, right, revealing your emotions? Not saying you're making a decision emotionally, but showing your emotions and then thinking through. What's your thoughts on not doing that?
It's a double-edged sword,
okay,
right? And so professionally, at times, not displaying your emotions is a good thing.
right.
Especially if you're in trying or you're in combat, you want to be a solid leader. The Marines or sailors see that nothing affects you. You're calm, cool, and collected under pressure. Even though you may be shaking in your boots, it doesn't really matter. At other times when it comes to marriage, it is definitely not a good thing not to show emotions. And lucky again, I've been blessed to have a wife who refuses to let me stay in my proverbial shell when it comes to emotions. She may not agree, but she has definitely allowed me to break out of that shell and expressing how I feel and expressing emotions. She still tells me you got a long way to go, but you're a little bit better today.
Hey, what she say on the fifth rep? You about a B, but we're gonna get you up to a G now.
She would say you an A. Maybe unobserved.
Right. Let's go ahead and extend your last report.
That's right.
And I like, Colonel, I like how you articulated situations kind of dictate, your decision on how much emotions you should reveal to the person on the other end. And I think that's important to understand that we're all emotional beings, right? Human beings, we're all emotional. But also you have to think through when is a good time to just go ahead and let all the tears out. And maybe this is not the right time
right.
to show folks that, that your emotion, your emotions of sadness is taking over your behavior. So, no, thanks for that. I think that's powerful. But, so let's get right back into, so here you are and you're working at TGIF, some great burgers there, by the way. And, you got your eyes open now, you're optimistic and you're moving forward. What does moving forward mean to Colonel Quintin Jones in about 1993 timeframe?
So again, I think I put in some work and I was eventually accepted into the Valley Forge Military Academy.
Wow.
And so that was up in Pennsylvania. And so I ended up about 4 months later, I took off and went to Wayne, Pennsylvania, and enrolled in Valley Forge Military Academy into their junior college. And the program that I enrolled in was a Army ROTC fast track 2-year commissioning program.
Wow.
But also it was a feeder school into West Point. And so my whole purpose going there was to go to West Point. And then if that didn't work out, I would be ultimately commissioned in 2 years.
Okay.
It's a very tough year. Valley Forge is a very unique institution. And so it has kids who are in elementary school all the way up to juniors in college, all in the same campus, all military. And there's some kids that have been there, for 5-6 years.
Wow.
And they're considered upper class in elementary school. And so I had a rude awakening when I had a 10-year-old kid brace me up one day coming out of the chow hall. And he was an upperclassman. So
he was like,
I had to say it today. That's right. Why are you looking at me, please? And so again, that teaches humility along the way as you're trying to reach your goals. I stayed there the entire year. I was accepted into West Point as well as Annapolis. And so I eventually made the tough decision to attend the U.S. Naval Academy as opposed to West Point. And it was a long thought out decision about why going to the Naval Academy as opposed to West Point.
Right.
And the reason why I went to the Naval Academy is because I felt the Army had opened a lot of doors for minority officers in the past. And the Naval Academy had not when we got to the commissioning part of it. And so I felt like I could be a positive role model for minorities as well as majority and show them that officers can be of any ilk, but particularly African Americans and still lead from the front. And also I was a little bit bitter that West Point didn't accept me the first time. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to Annapolis.
You know, that is interesting how, you know, you start off, you try to get into West Point, you don't make it, you go back home, you know, regroup, and then you go to another academy in Pennsylvania, you're right, little Army slice, and not nothing bad about that. But and when you have 10-year-old telling you that you need to shave, sir, and then you get accepted into West Point. You go, no, I'll go Naval Academy. But the key thing I want to highlight to the listeners and viewers is that your thought process for making that decision, right? You choosing to go to Naval Academy was not necessarily for you. It was for the next generation. And it's just amazing how your thoughtful decision not only impacted you, but it's still impacting generations to come that are minorities and can look at someone like you and go, you know what? I can go to the Naval Academy, become a Marine Corps colonel, you know, a colonel, United States Marine Corps, no matter what my color is, white, black, it doesn't matter. And particularly too, if I'm African American, I can look at someone that looks kind of like me, and if they did it, I can do it. I just wanted to highlight that. And I think that's commendable that you thought about the next generation of potential Marine Corps officers, than you know, just doing it for you.
Yep. And that was, again, a long thought out process about why choose the Navy over the Marine Corps. And when I was making that decision, I had the Army officers from Valley Forge, you know, who are all retired guys. They cornered me in the chow hall one day and they said, hey, why do you want to go to the Navy? They're all a bunch of elitists. You know, they don't even eat with their enlisted. You know, we're in the Army, you do. It's all about the soldiers. And I said, yes, gentlemen, I can appreciate that, but that's the exact reason why I'm going, because they don't. And so I want to show them that, hey, we can do that. You know, we don't have to be elitists. We can take care of our sailors. We can take care of our Marines. You know, we don't have to espouse to an elitist system. If that's what it is. And I want to break down those barriers in the Navy or the Marine Corps, where I choose that, you know, there's not a lot of folks that look like me that are officers that are leading.
Yeah. You know, and I can, you know, accurately speak to that. You know, as the 4th Marine Regiment Sergeant Major, I think I was blessed to be able to work with about 10 infantry battalion commanders from 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Marine divisions. But you're the only African American battalion commander that I had the pleasure to witness and watch leading and managing his battalion. But I will tell you this is that I personally have seen you demonstrate by your leadership behavior that you can lead in a way that does not take away from your effectiveness and ability to inspire Marine sailors or anyone, and still show you're compassionate, you care, you're human. And I watch you do that. So I appreciate you highlighting that and giving me the joy and pleasure to make memories of watching you do it. So I salute you on that one.
Oh, thanks, Sergeant Major.
Well, hey, you know, great interview, great show. You gave me some. You can invoice me after this. But you know, first, so 2 things. One, how can people find you? Are you on LinkedIn, or if people wanted to find Colonel Quintin Jones and maybe pick your brain, you know, how could they find you?
I'm on LinkedIn, so you can search Quintin Quintin Jones, and you'll see my bald head pop up, and you got me.
And any lessons, as we reflect back on that journey, right? Your personal and professional challenge. Any lessons learned that you want to leave our listeners and viewers?
I think the greatest lesson is don't ever give up, no matter how bleak the situation looks, or if you think that you're supposed to do something, God may have had another plan for you all along. So the plan was never for me to go to West Point. It was always for me to become a Marine Corps colonel. And so when you're in the thick of it, you obviously can't see that at the time. But he had a different path for me. He allowed me to go through some things, to kind of suffer a little bit, to understand and appreciate the gift that he had for me. And that was being able to lead a tremendous amount of Marines and sailors that our nation has entrusted to us. I've met a ton of phenomenal people that I still call friends on this 23-year journey, friends from the academy, friends from all over the world where I've deployed or lived and served. And so don't ever give up. Just keep pressing forward. And then when you do hit those walls of adversity, don't be afraid to open up and share those struggles that you're having. Find a person that you can trust and believe in, that that if you share that with that person, that it's going to stay in that steel trap. Because as men in our profession, you need a sounding board. You need a person, a confidant that you can share things with, because as combat arms professionals, you're always on the clock 24/7. And so you don't get a chance to let your hair down. But when you need somebody to lean on, you got to have somebody to make it through.
No, well, Colonel Jones, again, I appreciate you coming on Armor Talk. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to listen to this episode, go to Apple Podcasts. That's under iTunes, of course. And you can download, rate, and review. You can share it too. We always ask that you share with your friends and family. If you want to watch this episode, you can put in the search engine Mario P. Fields /YouTube, and then subscribe and watch this episode. Always, again, leave us a review, rating, some comments. And if we don't get back to you as soon as you leave them within the next day or two, we will get back to you. But until next time, everybody be safe out there, and we'll see you soon.